Unfortunately, I cannot play this video because Dr. Disrespect disrespects me by playing copyright music on his streams every time. And due to that, I get a copyright strike. But I can describe to you what's happening here. He's basically explaining how Bethesda didn't want to partner with him because he had a political take on Twitter. So he's like, okay, so you don't want to pay me money to advertise your game. Can I at least play it earlier along with everyone else? Because being a streamer right now in this economy, it's incredibly competitive. Like, you need to stay afloat. If everyone is playing a game, you have to play that game. It's how the business works. And especially when you're at a high level, like Dr. Disrespect, I assume he also has staff. I assume he also has a team of people that he needs to pay. So it's in his interest to play these games. So, no, not good enough. Like, you had this bad take, and because of that, and I think, like, the take is regarding the Wizard game. I may be wrong, but I think, like, that's what they're talking about. Like, you had the take with the Wizard game on Twitter, and because of that, you're not going to be able to get our game early in advance. Right. So, he's basically pointing out, oh, so now I see pronouns in the game, this is why they did it. Now, you get other people mocking him for being upset. So let me get this straight. Alright, if I, as the customer, don't want to do business with Bethesda for their political takes, I'm going to get insulted. Like, we saw what Actman says, like, Hassan Piker wants to lobotomize people like myself that do not want to play Bethesda's game. The Actman called the AZ a monkey or something, and like, you see a lot of insults going around, like you're a doo-doo poopy head, nincompoop for not wanting to play Bethesda. But basically, you're a joke, right? Like, if you, the customer, don't want to play Bethesda because you don't like certain things in their game, you're the joke. But if Bethesda doesn't want to sponsor your streamer, they're fine, they're prestigious. Like, it's completely normal for them to choose who they associate with. So it's not normal for me to choose what gaming company I purchase stuff from, but it's normal for the gaming company to choose who they associate with. How does that work? Can anyone explain? Why is this normal? And then, even more, why would I associate with a gaming company that's trying to socially engineer people? Like, what Dr. Disrespect having to say in his private time on social media have to do with him playing the game? Like, obviously, he's got millions of followers. Like, this clip alone has 27.4 million views. You, as a company, should say, well, if this guy has this many views, he's not unpopular. Like, clearly he resonates with people. Clearly he will get eyeballs on our product. There is no fucking reason why you would say, oh, well, yeah, but like this one time, he had this take, so we're going to make a lesson for the other streamers to get back in line. We as the corporations decide what streamers get to say politically. We as the corporation get to decide what streamers are and aren't allowed to think. And the moment they step out of line, they get punished. So why would I support this culture? Like, on one hand, you have streamers which influence tens of millions of people. Many of them young and impressionable. Like, what the streamer says, usually the young people listen to, right? But apparently, what the streamer says isn't what the streamer thinks. It's what the corporation demands that the streamer say so that they get access to the product. Because otherwise, if they don't do that, the streamer becomes unpopular, loses money, has to fire staff, and keeps going on more and more unpopular until they become irrelevant. So why would I support this company? Like, this is the solution. It's for people like us, like AZ, Critical Drinker, and many others that stood together and said, no, fuck off. Okay, it's not about the pronouns. It's about this toxic culture where you get to say that woke capitalism is fine. And by woke capitalism is where the corporations get to decide what their employees think, what the people that they do business get to think. It's what Larry Fink said actually into an interview. We get to instill behaviors. Like, we get to force behaviors on. I don't want Larry Fink, who is not my daddy, who if I go to and ask for money, he's not going to give me any. Why would I want him to instill behaviors in me? So obviously I can't, boycott BlackRock or anything like that. But what I can do is when I see a company like this, I can Bud Light it. It's probably not going to end up the way of Bud Light, by the way, with Bethesda. Like, entertainment companies are a lot more difficult to boycott. However, why the fuck do I need to buy their product again? Like, why would I have to pay $70 for a video game that's also garbage? Looks gray, bland. I don't like it, right? So, you need to understand that when people on Twitter are ridiculing you, they're mocking you, they're gaslighting you, they're gatekeeping. This is the left version of gatekeeping. They want to shut down every single criticism because they know that the product is incredibly vulnerable. They are very much aware that people criticizing this thing is very, very effective. So they want you to shut the fuck up. I want to remind people that 2 years ago, this whole pronoun thing was being laughed at on the internet. Like, I remember Games Done Quick, like they had like certain people with like a little bit of a piece of paper in front of them with the pronouns, and anyone that asked them about what that piece of paper meant, they would get banned, right? Like, that's how fragile they were. And literally everyone was laughing at them. Like, I saw people on the left laughing at them, people on the right were laughing at them. However, now, 2 years later, like just 2 years, because like the pronouns are in every single video game, it's considered normalized. And if you disagree with it, you are the person that needs to be laughed at. And it's usually like a very small and fringe group of people. It's not even that many. So, no, I do agree with AZ. I do agree with Dr. Disrespect. I don't care like how much mockery and ridicule I would get. I mean, I'm a game developer of a certain niche type of titles. The last thing that people can do is try to shame me. Like, that is the most ineffective weapon. So I will speak out. I will speak out on behalf of Heels versus Babyface, Critical Drinker, Razor Fist, and all the other people who came out and they definitely said that no, AZ has a point. And by the way, you know, like talking about like they will usually say it's like, oh, well, why do you care? Like, first of all, because you care. That's why I care. Like when I see the left caring about something, it means it must be important, because otherwise they wouldn't care. Secondly, it ruins the gaming experience. What I mean by this, in a role-playing game, like if you play Neverwinter Nights or you play some of the old games, you will notice that some characters are gay. So in order to get the gay romance, it creates replayability. Like you would have to replay as a different character in order to get like the lesbian romance with Liara Tissoni. But now with the pronouns, there is no more gayness or straightness or like everyone is pansexual. It doesn't matter. Like you can create a character, flirt with anyone, just have sex with anyone. Removes the replayability aspect. Some of the flirts are cringy. You know, like the idea of flirting, and this is something that the gender abolitionists really hate. But there are certain flirts that women can use and certain flirts that a man can use. Like if I go next to a man and I start biting the edge of my glasses in a seductive way, and you know I show him a little bit of my chest, that doesn't fucking work now, does it? So like, this is why romance doesn't exist in modern games. I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't have romance. This is something that I discussed. They have hookups. Like, this is woke culture. This is modern leftist culture. They don't have romance anymore. They just have hookups. You fuck and that's it. Now, compare that with Wrath of the Righteous, or Neverwinter Nights, or Star Wars, the Knights of the Old Republic, like all these previous titles. I mean, they actually had proper romance, and it was great. But unfortunately, for some reason, we don't get to have that anymore because we need to accommodate the pronouns, which no one fucking cares about in a single-player game. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.